people in New York County because of election issues throughout the county. A lot of and here to join us now to talk about that is State Senator Kristin Phillips-Hill of York County. Thank you so much for joining us after a late night. You were just telling me that not a lot of sleep. What did a lot of your constituents tell you, and what can be done at the state level to prevent something like this from happening again?
Absolutely. I was at many different polling places across York County and saw things that were very concerning, heard things from constituents all over the 28th district, but there were very long lines. There were concerns over privacy, and I personally witnessed voters having to walk away from the polls and not being able to cast their ballots. Disenfranchising voters is not acceptable.
Is there anything that can be done at the legislative level kind of moving forward with this?
Absolutely, absolutely. As the acting Senate State Government Committee Chair, certainly this is within the purview of that committee. And I believe that we need to do a review of what happened. We're hearing that Northampton County has not been counted at all, that there have been problems as well out west. And this is really important. This is something that we need to get to the bottom of. Was up in Harrisburg at Pima yesterday for a briefing on election security with the head of cybersecurity from the Homeland Security Agency down in Washington, D.C. And look, their concern out of Washington, D.C. is that Pennsylvanians decide Pennsylvania elections, Americans decide American elections, that our elections process must be resilient, and we have to have measures in place to assure that every person's vote, every citizen's vote is counted.
This was the most topical question, but I do want to kind of have some fun, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I had you on around this time last year, and we were talking about Thanksgiving traditions in the household. What are some of your favorite memories around this time of year, favorite Thanksgiving traditions when people get around the table?
Well, of course, we all have wonderful food traditions, right?
And no Thanksgiving is the same, no matter which household you go into.
It's not. I can tell you, mashed potatoes, we have this wonderful secret family recipe, and those mashed potatoes are amazing. And I'm sure that they clog your arteries just thinking about them. But one of the great traditions, of course, is shopping. Black Friday, but more importantly, Small Business Saturday. And this year, I've partnered with the York County Economic Alliance. We've gone around to highlight and showcase small businesses in the 28th district. And small businesses are the backbone of our economy. So what I would say to people is, always remember, shop small on Small Business Saturday. Those businesses support local charities. They sponsor local Little League teams. They give back so much. And every dollar that you spend here locally, it's more likely that money's going to stay here in the community and do good things.
So after Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, and I'm not going to ask you necessarily a Christmas question, but when it comes to gifts, what is your 2020 legislative wish list? What's the one thing you want to accomplish more than anything else when it comes to the new year?
I'd like to have property taxes addressed. And this November, it will be 4 years since the Senate has voted on a property tax elimination measure. I think the time has come.
On the topic of marijuana, you put out a survey you sent it to your constituents within your district, came across that 70% of the people that responded said that they are opposed to legalizing marijuana. How did you come up with those numbers?
So we looked at the numbers that we had. The Lieutenant Governor released his report, and we wanted to make sure that we had captured everyone. So we put a survey out, and we pushed it out through Facebook, through Twitter, and through my email newsletter blast. Went to thousands of people. It was shared over 75 times by organizations that support the legalization of recreational marijuana. And basically, we took those contacts, whether that person responded to the survey, whether they had contacted me by phone, by email, or by regular mail. And, very simple question: do you support, do you oppose, or are you undecided about the legalization of recreational marijuana?
Where do you fall on that?
Well, I can tell you exactly where my constituents fall. I mean, I've certainly had my own reservations and concerns, but overwhelmingly, 71% of the people in the 28th district do not support the legalization.
Why are you opposed to it?
You know, I think that I talk to people who are in law enforcement, our district attorney, medical professionals, you know, the folks who are working really hard battling the opioid crisis right here in York County, and their response to me has all been, this is really not a good path to go down.
Last week there was legislation brought up in the House, hate crime legislation, and the House representatives that brought this up, they all are in agreement that the one biggest hurdle when it comes to passing increased hate crime, strengthening hate crime laws legislation is LGBTQ protections. And I'm wondering, why is that such a hurdle for the GOP to get on board with protecting LGBTQ community?
You know, I think that we need to treat every human being with dignity and respect. And I think there have been great concerns, particularly in the faith community, that by assuring rights of one group, we might be taking away rights from another group. And so that's the fine line, the fine needle that we're trying to thread, is to make sure that we assure that every person is treated with dignity and respect, and that we don't take away one person's rights to give another person rights.
If everyone is deserving of those equal rights, then isn't that the line right there, that everyone deserves those equal rights?
You can't take away someone else's rights to empower another individual's rights. So again, the good news is that we have been able to find broad bipartisan consensus. We look at what happened at the Tree of Life Synagogue. Right here in York County, our Jewish community center was threatened with bomb threats. We saw that in Harrisburg. There was a cemetery desecrated in Philadelphia. And recently, the General Assembly and the governor came together, created a grant program for communal organizations so that every person in this Commonwealth should be able to worship without fear. And those will be security grants that will hopefully make worshiping in the Commonwealth that much safer. This Commonwealth was founded on the principle of religious toleration, and so we've been able to accomplish that. So I think we can continue to find a way to move forward for every Pennsylvanian.
State Senator Kristin Phillips-Hill joining us on the Fox 43 Capitol Beat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Fox 43 Morning News after this.